Um, Had a chance to go back through and look at the game, video of it, and there were some good things that took place. Most of all, just battling through to get the win. It's a tough thing to do. Obviously, we kind of followed the different teams throughout the season, and to be able to get 14 wins is nothing to shake your hand at. So I think it was a good thing that we've been able to put all those wins together. However, there's plenty of things that we can work on as we work our way through the opportunity to play the Chargers, and then get ourselves ready again for the playoffs down the stretch there. So we'll have plenty of stuff to better ourselves on. I thought our defensive line really played well against the run and the pass. He had constant pressure. I mean, made some nice throws in there at times, but I thought there was pressure on the quarterback, which it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. If you can do that, you're going to hinder their performance. I thought some of our young players in particular at the linebacker spot, Snead continuing to get reps in there at the nickel. I just think those guys, I think that's invaluable. Game reps. There's nothing like that speed, especially against a skilled offense like they have. I think will pay off for us down the road. And I thought the guys picked it up, especially when Ben got hurt. Harris had to step in at the Mike linebacker. He'd been practicing the Sam linebacker all week, but he found out all of a sudden there's a sudden change here that you got to be ready for everything. And I thought he did an excellent job with that. So stepping up. I thought offensively there's some things we can work on, but I appreciated the way we battled down throughout the four quarters, and good things happened. D-Rob obviously with a nice double move that he had on their corner, and Pat's throw were tremendous. Kels just continues to be such an elite player, not only for us, but within the league. And we flexed him out. We moved him around to different spots, inside receiver, the tight end slot position there, straight on the line of scrimmage, tight end position. And we had him in the backfield, all different kinds of spots. And he really handled that well, both mentally and physically. So not easy to do when you're being moved around that much. I thought our receivers were aggressive to the ball. I thought they had a good plan for us. And again, there could have been frustration that set in. The guys didn't do that. They battled through and did a nice job with it. I thought D. Williams had a good game. So he really stepped up and played well. And then special teams I thought was solid. We had a decent field position throughout the game, and when special teams was called on. So there were some good things there. But again, like I said, on all three phases, we've got things to continue to work on. We'll do that. We've got a big challenge this week, with the Chargers coming in here. And so we've got to make sure we buckle down and get ready for that game. So with that, time's yours.
Let's go first to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. Hope you're well.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned Darrell Williams there, 47 snaps overall yesterday compared to Le'Veon Bell's 20. How much of this is a sign of things to come if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not ready for the first playoff game?
Well, listen, I think, it's can't have enough running backs. And so that's a tough position. We're blessed to have Le'Veon Andy. And so it's, I don't know about numbers and all that. I'm just glad we have them. And it was good to get Darrell some work in there.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hi, Andy. Wondering whether you're any closer to knowing how you're going to handle the Chargers game in terms of maybe resting some guys, some starters on Sunday. And is that decision complicated by the fact you also get a bye next week in the first round of the playoffs?
Yeah, I've been down this road a couple times before, and I've had opportunities to rest guys. So we'll do that. I mean, we'll rest up some guys. I'm sitting right here, Adam, kind of waiting on the guys to come in and get the treatment and talk to Rick and see exactly where we stand with any injuries and that. So, but there's certain guys that they'll have an opportunity to rest up. Everybody will be ready to go as long as we're physically ready to go. They're physically ready to go, but we'll make that decision down the road. But yeah, I've done that in the past. I've rested players. Yes.
Let's go next to Vahe Gregorian. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Andy. It's a little related to what Adam was asking, but can you just elaborate a little bit on what you have to weigh in terms of sort of the possibility of rust versus rest and keeping that rhythm and really how much that extra week does matter with it? Because then you're looking at a few weeks of guys not playing if you rest so much.
Yeah, I don't like to weigh very often. It sometimes gets a little heavy. Vahe, doggone it. So listen, I think in the past I've been okay with it, right? The way we've gone about it, the way we practiced, in between that dead period there, the bye week period. So I feel comfortable if needed here to rest guys, which I'm leaning in that direction. Then I'm confident that we can do it the right way, and I'm not worried about that. Getting guys freshened up, I think could be a positive for you. So these guys aren't going to forget the plays. We've had a number of plays on both sides of the ball. They won't forget how to play. And so, but I think in some cases a little bit of rest helps up. So
I think Herbie had a quick follow-up. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, along those same lines, obviously you had an abbreviated training camp before the season opener, and the way the team came out to start the season, how much does that give you confidence in making this decision?
Yeah, so I would probably bank on what I've been through before on it, Herbie, than that. I mean, that was great. I mean, the guys did a nice job with that. We're blessed to have enough guys back that have been here before and kind of know how we handle things. And so, but I would just tell you on past experience is kind of what I would bank on right now. And, just seeing and feel, I mean, that's what I tell you. But I listen, I do have confidence that we have a veteran crew and they're going to be okay. So, I mean, I think in some cases, some of these guys need just take a step back.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Andy, I'm going to stay on the theme rest. But in your past, like you mentioned before, in having a bye week, do you feel like it's better for skill position players to get quicker into rhythm, or is it something where it's more trench related, where you feel like the offensive line or the defensive line needs certain work in practice, even if they're not going to play in the game before obviously having a bye week?
Yeah, so I would tell you mileage, I always kind of take that in consideration. At Tyreek Hill, I mean, how many miles does this kid put on? And we know how fast he is and the wear and tear that does. Sammy, those kind of, you look at that part, the wear and tear on legs. And with the O-line, I don't worry quite as much about that part of it. I think through practice, we can get kind of what we need. If we go that route with the O&D line, that doesn't mean they're not suited up and ready to play and all that. I'm not saying that, but I'm not as concerned. It's not as much the mileage on the legs as maybe the wear and tear on the body there. So
let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Good afternoon, Coach. Just wanted to confirm, two-pronged here. Just wanted to confirm that if it's not Patrick, it'll be Chad. And then since we don't really get to see, especially this year, and talk to him, so what has he meant to that room since you guys were able to acquire him in 18?
Yeah, well, he's been great. I mean, he understands the role, which is like the number one thing, right? You have to understand the role, and then like any relief pitcher, you have to be ready at all times. And then there's a certain amount of discipline that goes with being ready for these game plans. When you're not repping them, you've got to stay mentally sharp with it. And you've been at practice where these guys, they take all the reps, they just do it back behind everybody. And so he's in tune with that. He never gripes. He's been great for Patrick for as somebody that he can bounce things off of that's in the moment right now. So, and it leads to a great room. I mean, you've got more in there also. So all of a sudden he's got two veteran guys around him that have been there, done it, and are two top-notch guys on top of all that. So I would tell you, if Pat doesn't go, then Chad would be the guy. Yes.
So we've got 3 left. We'll start with Darren. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Coach. I'm curious because of just recent history. 2017, the Dallas Cowboys, they sat their starters. They were all 3 weeks. They lost to Green Bay. Last year, the Ravens took those 3 weeks off. And most of the starters took the 3 weeks off, and they didn't look the same in their loss to the Tennessee Titans. How do you weigh those risks versus rewards? Because if you set some of those skilled players, they'll be out for 3 weeks, and then of course they come back. They're not as sharp as they would versus a team that's been playing every week going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've got to just trust what I've either been through or trust the way we practice and those type of things. So I think we'll be okay whatever direction we go. We'll be all right. So we'll have to see how it all works out. But I really don't have that big of a hesitation with this crew if I need to sit people.
Let's go next to Robert Rimson. Go ahead, Robert.
Hey, Coach. So a team like the Falcons show us that no matter how good you are offensively, it's not as easy to close out games in the NFL when you have a lead. And it seems like you guys have been doing pretty good at that, at least through the last 6 games or so. To you, what's the most important thing when closing out a game like that, especially when it's been close all day?
Yeah, Robert, I think it's just not getting down on yourself. You can kind of dismantle the whole thing if you're not believing that good things are going to happen here, and so I when I tell you that I'm proud of the guys for that, that's one of the things I'm talking about is just that persevering through the game, not pointing the fingers at this guy or that guy. I don't know if you guys sub it after the game. I mean, here's Chris and Frank, and they're waiting on Patrick to say, "Hey, man, we appreciate you, staying with it and trusting us." And Pat goes, "Hey, listen, I could have done better here for you, But the point being is that it's selfless that way. So when you have that, I think that's important. Those are the things I see because I'm right there, right? I've got the front row seat. So I appreciate that. And do we need to sharpen some things up? Yeah, we'll do that. But being able to show up and answer the bell every game, and that's not an easy thing to do, especially when you're kind of the hunted, right? I mean, you won the championship, so teams are going to come after you a little bit, and you got to battle through all that and play. And every week we sit there and we look at teams and go, man, how did that group do this and then against that team, man? But that's this league. There's great parity. There's great the competition is just phenomenal. These guys, records aside, they want to play. They want to show, and they're professionals. And there's not a whole lot of difference between winning and losing, and each team with the parity that there is. So the fact that we're able to step up and to the plate 14 out of 15 times has been a real plus. Yeah.
We'll go last to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy. I got two things for you, but I'll just ask one at a time. So you haven't made a decision on quarterback yet, and when do you anticipate that'll come?
Listen, there's a good chance, Chap. I haven't talked to my coaches yet, so I'm putting all, I have to gather all the information before I make any decision. So, I mean, I've got the trainers, I've got Veach I got to talk to, and there are a few different things that you got to kind of cover before you get there. And then I've got you guys. So, so I'm going to try to make everybody feel a part of it here, but I can't give you all the information, but there's a good chance that you might see Chad somewhere in that game, if not the beginning, somewhere in there. But
Okay.
it might be the beginning. I'm not telling you it's not the beginning, but I'm sorting through all of it.
All right. I don't see why Veach needs to know before we do, but secondly, you've talked about how Patrick is able to sort of put aside when things aren't going well to still have a good drive, a good quarter, what have you. How typical is that? I mean, you've been around a lot of good players, a lot of good quarterbacks. How typical is that quality?
Well, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to do it. I think there's a lot that goes into that, Sam. Like, how do you conduct yourself in the locker room? How do you conduct yourself during practices? How do you conduct yourself the beginning part of the game to the end part? And the respect that, through all those things, what kind of respect do the guys have for you as a quarterback, but also how much respect you have for the other guys too. So, I mean, all that kind of adds up. And Pat, people respect Pat. And so, and he doesn't abuse that. He's part of the team, and he hasn't separated himself from the team, but they all know that he's got the ball in his hands every snap. So almost every snap. So they just, he can feel that. I mean, he feels that support, and then he does. He keeps firing, man. That's one of the great traits that he has, and I'm proud of him for that, for all of it, how he handles himself, and that he continues to fire. That's a great quality to have at that position, and it's really what makes him great.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, good. Thank you. Have a happy New Year. Or I'll probably talk to you before that, but I'm going to keep telling you to have a happy New Year. We got to get this thing straightened out right? So, all right.
Thank you, Coach.